Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hello, you're listening to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Weiskup, joined by my co-host who's ready to blitz our guest today with charm and wit. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And our other co-host who has the best nose for our podcast end zone. It's Hilary Waltemath.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi, Hilary. This month, our theme is giving great gifts. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about a gift guide for entertainers and athletes built by Minnesota Vikings defensive tackle and native Omahan, Harrison Phillips. We're so thrilled to talk to him. But before we do that, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. And you can learn more at nfm.com. And again, we are thrilled, Harrison, to have you here. Welcome to the I Am Home podcast.
Happy to be on, man. Long overdue.
Well, I appreciate that. Let me introduce you quick to the audience. If people may not know who you are, you're really known for your talents on and off the football field. You've made a name for yourself as a standout athlete and community leader. You just a couple accolades here. I've got your all Pac-12 and in college at Stanford. I think I found this last year. You were second in tackles for defensive linemen for the 2023 season. That's amazing.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the work that you do supporting kids with developmental disabilities. So clearly you're a busy athlete who balances your work on the field with your home life, the volunteerism, and I assume so much more. Harrison, I'm curious. I didn't really have this written down, but how did you get into your foundation work with kids and developmental disability?
Yeah, for sure. So I started my foundation, Harrison's Playmakers, when I was working in college doing some nonprofit work at Stanford. Realized I finally had a platform and wanted to kind of dig in. And when I thought back to my origin story, it wasn't some huge crucial thing. We kind of are all touched or impacted by individuals with differences. But I remember a specific time in middle school when I was late to getting to lunch one day, and they had these big circle rectangle lunch tables, and normally I would sit down with the football players. If that table was full, I'd sit down with my wrestling teammates. If that table was full, I'd sit down with my track and field teammates. And I remember one day walking, and a lot of the tables were filled, and so I just looked around the lunchroom of where to sit, and I saw our special education department class all sitting together for lunch. And so I went over and sat down, and I saw the principal come over, wondering if I was trying to do a prank or do something funny, but I was just sitting down trying to make new friends, and that's exactly what I did. And some of those friends of mine are still friends to this day. We went to prom together, homecoming together, things like that. And then to hear my friends' parents then in the special education department, their parents, explained to me how their child's life trajectory was completely changed based, never thought about their kid going to a homecoming or going to a prom. And so at a young age, seeing an overlooked population that has inspired me and motivated me to become a better person, I figured that I wanted to highlight this group of people in the masses. And so we have, I think, 2,500 Harrison's Playmakers across the country. And, from Buffalo, where I played, Omaha, where I'm from, and Minnesota, where I'm at now. And we just keep kicking ass and trying to flip the negative perception out there that people with differences can't do things. That's not true. These are amazing, unique individuals with a lot of love to give.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. If we didn't already love you from just doing research and seeing like how cool you are on the field and just seeing a little perspective now, I think everyone's just like, oh,
Sold.
Harrison, he's awesome. Well,
Appreciate
I
it.
wonder, since we're talking all things gifting, if a natural place to start is this random Santa hypothetical that I've made up.
Yep.
If you could swap places with Santa for one night, who do you think would do each other's job better? Would Santa be a better defensive tackle, or do you think you'd be a better Santa?
Shoot, man. That's tough. Santa, he's got the frame to play D
Right?
tackle. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of us out there doing it. I think age becomes a factor.
Fair.
Um,
Fair.
Mhm.
if we have to switch places with our current abilities, I'm gonna go with Santa playing D line because he obviously has the ability and agility to fit down chimneys, get in the back
Yes.
door. I mean, there's a different ways that'd be elite in the run game just to like disappear and pop back up. And I feel bad. I know Santa's a big body, but I'd feel bad for all those reindeer trying to hold up my body weight. And I just know the way I am. I was reckless growing up, so I'd wake up every house that I got to. So I'm gonna tip my cap to Santa, the newest member of the defensive line.
Oh, that's good. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
You've got the makings of a pretty solid beard, though. That I think that works in your favor too.
And this was
Yes.
just trimmed up, man.
Oh,
We'll have to get I got a Halloween costume I have to shave for, but then maybe for Christmas I'll get the Santa
Get it
beard.
growing.
there you go. There you go.
Well, thank you for indulging us, Harrison, with that. It's fun when people play along with these random hypotheticals I come up with. So I'd love to know what has been the most rewarding aspect of playing, this game, either as a pro, your college days, or whatever.
There's a lot of great things that come with the job title, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into earning those accolades. I'd say, you know, I think where I'm at right now in life, one of the things is financial security. I know that in a time in the world where inflation and whatever's going on, you want to make sure that you can take care of your immediate family and your future
Yeah.
family. And sometimes there's just one person from a household who might have the means and the blessings to go out and create generational wealth for their family. And so that's what I've tried to do, through my effort and hard work. But aside from that, some of the real meaning things of life, I would say some relationships and some friendships that I've met. Some of my buddies back home that I go hang out with in Nebraska. They've kind of stayed in Nebraska, went to UNL or UNO, work in Nebraska. You kind of get used to just seeing life from that lens. And so being able to go all the way across the country to different locations, school in California, playing in New York, here in Minnesota, you just meet a lot of people from different walks of life and, kind of cultures you a little bit and lets you just learn a ton. And so I've been really fortunate for that. And then the last thing I think is, um, you know, setting a long, far, hard off goal that seemed unobtainable and then working towards that. There's really reward in saying that you're like setting something else that you're going to say you're going to do and then to go do it. And I'm a firm believer in hard work and work ethic. And so, my favorite saying to talk to the kids when I'm doing camps or speaking out to different classrooms is if you reach for the stars, if you only get the clouds, you're still higher than everyone else. And so I always encourage the youth to really make long goals because I was talking about playing in the NFL since I was 3 or 4 years old and really tried to make that happen.
Yeah. When you set that goal, was that one where you're like, this is totally going to happen? Did you know back then, or was it one of those things where you're like, I'm hoping, I'm wishing?
um I didn't even start playing tackle football until like sixth grade. So when I was younger, it was just out in the front yard. I want to be a football
Sure.
player. I'm sure I was a football player for Halloween a few of the years. Had the posters all along my wall. And when I started playing, yeah, it came a little easy to me. I was bigger than a lot of people, a little more athletic than a lot of people my size. But I wasn't, I didn't make varsity as a freshman. I wasn't some all-state players early in my high school days. It took a lot of hard work and changing positions, changing bodies. I put 65, 75 pounds on my first year in college, overcoming injuries. So it never was a clear path. And even, I'm able to say that looking at it, in a reflective mindset, but in my current mindset, there's still many goals. And I don't think I've reached my ceiling yet. I'm constantly chasing further and further. And I think that's how I was in high school and college. In high school, I wanted to be a starter. Well, the second I wanted to be All-State. The second I was All-State, I wanted to get a D1 offer. The second I got a D1 offer, I wanted to play as a freshman. As soon as I played as a freshman, I wanted to start. Then I wanted to get drafted. As soon as I got drafted, I wanted to sign a second contract. You just keep, complacency cannot be in your vocabulary when you're trying to pursue excellence. And so, each milestone along the way, I've learned a lot. And so, yes, when you can reflect back on what you've accomplished, it's rewarding. But at the same time, that's out of one side. Out of the other one is what goals can I put in front of me now?
Mm. Do you have like a labeled goal for the period in your life that you are now? I mean, you were second in tackles. Is it first in tackles this year? Like what's the label for the goal?
I want us to be a top 5 run defense in the NFL. I want us to be top 5 defense in the NFL. Individual goals I normally like to keep to myself, but realistic, I mean, more candid. I want to pass rush a little bit better, so see those hits, pressure, sack numbers increase. I have a
Yeah.
few numbers that I'm hoping to obtain this season. But yeah, I want to see my play evolve as the games evolve. When you guys. You go back 15 years watching NFL football, the games change from back then to today, and the run stuffing slow guy in the middle, that guy doesn't really exist anymore, and you have to be able to affect quarterbacks. And so I want to see my career evolve to rush passers a little bit better.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we're always curious about, because we get the pleasure of talking to several athletes, is superstitions. There's a lot of people in sports who kind of they have them. I'm curious, do you have any superstitions, or if not, are there who would you'd say are like some of the most superstitious players that you've played with?
I think a lot of people have some type of superstition. I don't know if I call it superstition routine. As I explain things, people will say it's superstitious.
Yeah.
A funny thing that I do, I'm sure this one's really unique to just myself. That's why I start with that is whenever I get to a stadium, like a new stadium, or obviously in my home stadium, I already have it designated, but I will only use one restroom in that stadium. That's the one place that I'll use the restroom. I'll pick out a specific urinal, and even if there's 4 open, I'm waiting for that urinal. And I don't know why or how it started, but I had mine in Buffalo, and ever since I've gone somewhere else, when I get to the stadium, if it's a place I've played, which I think I've played all of them, but I think 2, I know which is the urinal that I wait for, and that's the one I wait for. So I don't know why or how, but that's how it is. There's a few things in my week. I have to hot tub on certain days. I have to get needles on certain days. I cryo chamber on certain days. And then the last funny one that is unique to me, and I've been trying to get a freaking sponsorship deal with them for 7 years, since I'm got to be the only guy doing this, is I eat Panera bread every single day before a game. Every Saturday before Sunday.
You got to get that sponsorship.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Panera,
Yeah.
holler at your boy. But yeah, I carb up and I eat Panera bread every Saturday, or a day before game. If we play on a Monday or a Thursday or whatever, but that's my thing.
Do you have like a specific order, or you mix it up?
Oh, same thing every time. I can go on the
Okay.
app. I just press the button. I'll go pick it
Reorder?
up. And if I'm close on time, I'll make a rookie go get it for me, and we'll be good to go. I'll get on the plane and away we go.
Oh, yeah. At least they could do is name the meal the
Seriously.
Harrison or something.
Yeah. Can you tell us
It's
what
got
the meal
double. It's
is?
got double meat on there. Extra protein.
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell us what the meal is?
Yeah, it's broccoli cheddar soup in a regular cup,
Classic.
and then baguette is a side for that, and then it's a turkey and cheese sandwich, double turkey, with chips is a side for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Basic.
a good carbo. Like it's the cheddar broccoli helps warm you up. I mean, you got a good mix there,
It's
honestly.
filling. Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and here too named, at least for the NFM podcast listening family, the Harrison
The
Phillips.
Harrison,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
the people at the Panera, they know me, so they'll write a little something on the receipt, like
Oh.
Skull Vikings, let's go 6-0, something.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
they get a good joke at it, but they never throw in a free biscuit or baguette or something.
Come on.
What's up with that?
Come on,
Panera, where you
Panera.
are you?
Yeah, this would be to your benefit, Panera.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're curious. Does football make it tough to celebrate the holidays? I feel like a lot of you guys are playing games on Thanksgiving, or it just feels like the thick of the season too. So and you've been doing it for years. Is it a tough time of year to really get into the holiday spirit when you're a football player?
Yeah, I mean this by absolutely no disrespect, because I appreciate and support our troops more than most.
Sure,
But
yeah.
I kind of try to frame it as like I'm deployed during season. Like I'm away, and I'm there to do a mission. I'm there to win football games, to get my body right, be the best version of myself for 4 hours on game days. And so, these last 3 years I've played on Thanksgiving. To answer your question, yes, the holidays are completely altered. And I actually almost prefer playing on the holiday because then it's a much easier excuse to friends and family. It's like, hey, I play on Thanksgiving. I can't do the normal Thanksgiving stuff.
Yeah.
This year we don't. So it's harder to say, hey, I know we're not playing today, but I still need to do my normal preparation for a
Yeah.
normal Thursday to get me ready for this game this weekend. And so, yes, there's family matters the most, more than football. But when you get in that mindset of a competitor and you must win games, it's hard. And so, I've delayed uh, that time in my life for when football's over because I do love the holidays. I was so spoiled growing up with the holidays that that was family time and grandparents, and it was just fun, very fun time. But for right now, I feel like this is that small period and window that I can try to accomplish all those goals that I set out to. That you do have to sacrifice a few Christmases and a few Thanksgivings, but we make up for it day after the game. You sometimes have an off day. We'll do a team Thanksgiving event, or some of the us players will get together in potluck style of Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, New Year's. So we always have kind of a Christmas party that the team will put on, and then the players will put on too. So we kind of have our own little family, but it's not the same as the traditional Nebraska ways.
Yeah, the guilt around the holiday, like spending time with family around the holidays is tough. And I don't think anybody's like intentionally putting like pressure, they understand, but there is certainly some guilt with whether you're out of town or doing something unconventional.
Mhm.
That's the complication around the holidays for sure.
1,000%. And that's why I've tried to frame this out to my immediate family is very understanding. They understand that like Harrison's away. He's pursuing
Yeah.
his goals right now, and we'll get him back in a few years. But
Yeah.
let him go, run wild. And we always find ways, night in the hotel before the game or something to do something cute as a family, exchange gifts quick. But it's not as fun as growing up, going to church and Santa
Mhm.
coming.
Yeah. Is that what the holidays were like? I mean, you had talked about like the bigger family get-togethers as a kid. Is that kind of like the vibe? Can you walk us through like back in those days, what were you doing?
Christmas was really big. I don't remember exactly what date it would be, but getting the big Christmas tree out, we had a like interesting, great room. We didn't have it was just a story and a half little house, but there was like a 2-story great room in the entrance kind of thing. So
Oh
we had a
yeah.
very tall Christmas tree, and it was really fun when we brought the Christmas tree out and the ornaments. We made an ordeal with that. Mom made some type of Christmassy ornament, or sorry, Christmas cuisine for dinner that night. We'd play Christmas music. And then the whole month of December, my mom ran a daycare at our house, so we would do a small Christmas exchange with the kids in the daycare at our
Oh,
Cool.
that's
place.
fun.
Um, and then when we had those couple weeks off, I mean, anytime you had off at school, it was a holiday. But growing up in a Christian household, we really celebrated the true meaning of Christmas. We always, told the Christmas story. We always went to church. It was Christmas Eve was normally when we went to church, and when we came home from church on Christmas Eve night, Santa had got to our house first. One of the first houses he'd get to on the 24th, and that was always super fun. And then on the 25th, we would normally drive to Wayne, Nebraska, where my grandparents were, and our cousins would all meet up there, aunt and uncles and stuff, and we'd have a big family Christmas there. Every once in a while, we'd get to my father's side, but they live further away, up in Wisconsin. And but yeah, it was mainly church, and when you came home from church, Santa had come, and it was
Mhm.
amazing.
Classic Midwestern Christmas celebration,
Yeah.
I'd say.
100%
sure.
wholesome. I love it. So I'd love to talk a little bit about your gift guide. You framed it as great for entertainers and athletes, and really there's some awesome picks on this thing. I was getting pretty excited going through everything that you picked out. How did you approach curating products for the gift guide? What was your process?
I just thought about what are things that I've used as I entertain as an athlete, and as I've gotten older, it kind of falls on the older players to invite the younger guys over. So we do D-line dinners. There's um, 12, 12 D linemen in your room in training camp. So we'll have them all over. My wife and I'll prepare some stuff, grill up on the Traeger. We're listening to music. A buddy of mine might want a foam roll while we're doing something. We're all athletes, and
Yeah.
so I was just thinking about some things that are kind of must-haves in the house. And then after I did that, I thought of some things that what would I want? What on this what here does Nebraska Furniture offer that I would love to add to the house? I'm building a home in Nebraska, and so we need to do some shopping. And some of the items on that list will definitely make it. So for each item on there, kind of like a Slumdog Millionaire, I have a memory or a situation with each item I chose. We don't have the
Nice.
time to go into all those, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And not to interrupt, but the variety that I think when people hear Nebraska Furniture, I did some social media stuff. So some of my teammates up here were asking me about it and were saying that they were checking out the gift guide and stuff. And they're like, dude, it sounds like they would sell sofas, but this place has got everything. It's like, I don't think y'all understand.
Yeah. If you're not from Nebraska,
Yeah.
you kind of don't get it.
It's up there with
Yeah.
Runza.
Yeah.
You have to experience
Yeah.
it to really understand it.
It's 100% different level. Which products from the guide do you think are maybe your personal favorites?
Whew. I think one that's a little off, that doesn't fit in with the rest, is the dog bed, and I think it's personal for us because we've had our little rescue, me and my wife's kind of whole adult relationship together. We're high school sweethearts, but when we kind of moved in together and stuff, we got our little Yorkie Marty, and he's seen me go through a lot, and he's always nice to come home and have a little puppy dog cheering you on and all that love and stuff. And so my wife's big main passion, as I'm passionate about my Playmakers, my wife Shay, her passions are more around animal shelters and animal rescues. And so we've done lots of collaborations and partnerships between Harrison's Playmakers and local animal rescues. We've raised tens of thousands of dollars in donations through my Playmakers, and pay adoption fees for dogs and animals and stuff. So long story short, for however long that me and my wife live, there will always be four-legged friends in the house. And my wife fosters dogs while she's kind of been following me around. It's hard for her to have a full-time job if we're moving city to city with football. But she's sure able to take care of a lot of dogs. And so we have to have a dog bed at the house. That's one that's a little more personal, that maybe sticks out with a sore thumb, but is always going to be in my home.
Yeah. It's a perfect opportunity to spoil those four-legged family members too. We can't forget them.
No. Yeah.
And Marty, what a name. Oh my gosh.
I am obsessed with
Yeah.
that. I'm obsessed with that.
And then perfect for us,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
come on.
I know his birth name is Martin, but he goes by Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a casual guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick one product from the guide to give as a gift to your teammates, what would it be?
So we do White Elephant, or we'll do Secret Santa here. But because you got all these people thinking they're making crazy money, we'll do like $1,000 minimums.
Oh,
So
okay.
big, but if you're, how it got is because a lot of times this thing all started in the NFL because people, if you're given $1,000 present, that means you're going to receive $1,000 present. And a lot of times people will be like, hey, my wife don't want me buying this expensive thing for myself. So we'll say it's Secret Santa, and I need you to buy me this, And so that's kind of how it got going. But so if it was for Secret Santa, that means I knew exactly who the item would be for.
Yeah.
And we have a rookie here who's just got a new place, and he's asked me about like home safety and stuff before. So if I had Secret Santa and had him, I would have got the Liberty Safe for him. Nice thing to keep all your valuables. We're on the road a lot. He's a single guy, so there's not a wife or a family member back at that house for him. So when he hits the road, and because we're somewhat public figures, our neighbors talk. They know that that's Harrison's house. They know that's so-and-so's house. We can become targets. And he reached out to me and question about that. If it was White Elephant and just a gift, I hope that someone gets this, they're going to use it. It'd probably be one of those brand new iPads that the Furniture Mart has on there. I think that those, we watch tons of film. We're taking flights every single weekend to away games, watching stuff on the plane. I would probably get an iPad for somebody.
Yeah. Nice to be an iPad kid.
Yeah.
Nice to be an iPad.
Yeah. As an adult.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To be an iPad kid
Like
too.
if-
We didn't
if-
have that growing up.
No,
So now
we
we
had
can be.
Like little black and white Game Boys.
Yeah.
Game
like
Boys.
Tetris.
Sudoku.
Yep.
Sudoku.
Yep.
Sudoku, manual Sudoku.
Mhm.
We had like a book about like license plates, and we just had to, like when we were driving, we had to like write down the ones we saw, and that was the entertainment for the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like an iPad too.
We can hook you up.
Okay. So
I'll let your guys' team should do $1,000 white elephant. This year.
Yeah,
Let me
there
know
we
how
go.
it goes.
That shouldn't be a problem.
okay, Harrison, we know that you're originally from Omaha, so you grew up with NFM, but I understand that you've also got like a personal connection to the store too. Is that true?
Yeah. So, shoot, I can't remember the exact years, but my family fell in a little bit of hard times following the 2008 recession area. My dad lost his job of 26 years at Pomida after they were bought out. And that was a tough time for our family. It took us, I think my dad was unemployed for like 2 years. Like I said,
Oh,
my
wow.
mom was running a daycare at the house, which wasn't really means to make an income. And had to sell our house, had to downsize. It was tough on the family. Then my dad had got another job, but at that job he kind of grew it as a buyer and purchaser to as big as they could kind of get, and his role kind of ended up being eliminated. And so it had to be around my last year or so in college. Yet this wasn't before I was in the NFL. Was unemployed again, and trying to figure out what to do, and applied at Nebraska Furniture Mart and was able to get a job there as a buyer, and worked in different departments there. I know he did a lot with lawn and garden. He did electronics. He actually did sporting goods, I believe, for a while, because I remember when I came home
Go
one
figure.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was asking me about if I'd ever used this Hyper Ice or this Theragun, or he asked me
Uh-huh.
as a buyer if he thinks that they'd sell. I think he, like I said, did some lawn and garden, lawnmower, snow removal, stuff like that. But my dad is retired now, but I believe he worked at the Furniture Mart for 7 years or so, and
Yeah.
absolutely spoke super highly of his time there. I think that's maybe why our collaborations had to wait a while, is because he was an employee there. We don't want to cross any boundaries. But my dad's retired for I think 2 or 3 years now, and that makes the connection we have so much more personal, as that was a big part of his life in the last place that he's had ever worked and will ever work.
Mhm.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I know that some people have spoken
Oh,
really,
yes.
really highly of
Yes.
the work that he's done here. So
Yeah, somebody I worked very closely with switched roles and worked for Paul and just adored him, loved working for Paul. So
Yeah,
That's
I've
perfect.
I've seen him in that setting a few times. It's funny, when you like go see your dad work. But yeah, and then a few of my actual high school classmates work at Nebraska Furniture Mart, and
Okay.
old enough to be in the working space too. So worked a few in the same realm as my father, and yeah, it's funny, but yeah, he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's weird to see like that world for your family, because you see them like in one setting, and then
Yeah.
they go into work mode, and you're like, well, that's weird. That's not my dad.
what are you doing, Dad? Why are you talking like that, Dad?
Yeah, it's cool though, because as my dad's retired, he's helped me grow my foundation. Him and my mom are on my board for Harrison's Playmakers, and he's wired how I am. How slowness and anything kind of frustrates you. You have to be doing something at all times, and so he's projected himself pretty far into the role of helping run Harrison's Playmakers in Omaha. And last night, funny enough, they rented out David the pizza machine, and had over
Oh,
100
yes.
Playmakers and their families.
Oh,
Free games, free food,
fun.
all this great stuff.
Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands of dollars of donations for a local. I think we chose an orphanage to work with in Omaha. So they're just kicking butt, being me while I can't be back in home. I get back in the off seasons, but allowing the foundation to grow and touch as many lives as we can. So it's been good, and to see him in that role, even though I'm the boss. I'm the CEO of Harrison's Playmakers. To see him in that role, we've even had some employee to employee conflict before, and that's awesome. It's cool to see him passionate.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's fantastic.
love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Harrison, we're getting close to the end of our time, so I do have a final question for us. It's going to be a Santa themed closer here. Let's see. I think we're gonna do this one during the busy holiday season. And I know it's tough because you're like you said, you've got that deployed mindset. You're on during that time frame, and you're trying to stay up and make sure that you win games. But I'm curious, if you find a time to treat yourself, like what would you say is your milk and cookies moment?
That's so funny, because when I did read that, and my milk and cookies moment is milk and cookies. Like chocolate chip cookie is my favorite food, and I can't tell that to any elementary school I go talk to. But that's the truth. Um, I mean, when the season finishes, my wife and I like to get away, go get somewhere warm. Buffalo in Minnesota, cold, snowy,
Yes.
dark.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so when season ends, we like to try to go get away, go somewhere warm, Arizona, Florida, something like that, just to kind of recharge. And then after the season, I'll spend a significant amount of money on getting my body back. So the treat yourself is really trying to recover my body. That could be flying to different places to get different procedures done, or extra massages, IVs. The chronic wear and tear and the inflammation in a body after a season is
Yeah.
insane. And so I'll spoil myself to get my body back feeling better.
Yeah. Well, perfect. And I hope that you get some milk and cookies as a part of
Yeah.
that, being your
I
favorite
need
food
'em.
and all that. Perfect. Well, Harrison, this has been so awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. How can people stay connected with you, the Vikings, or where do you want to send folks?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably most active on Instagram, but I use all my social media channels. I probably see or reply to 90% of the DMs of people asking to reach out with questions and things like that. Also, my website harrisonsplaymakers.org. If you want to get involved financially, volunteer, or sign up a playmaker who would maybe want to participate in some of our free activities across those 3 cities I mentioned, you can obviously go to that website. But I mean, I'm not going nowhere. I'll be back on with you guys in no time, and they can tap in and give you guys the questions they got.
I love it.
Love that idea.
Love it.
100%. Thank you so much, Harrison. And I do want to thank, obviously, our listeners as well. Encourage you to go to nfm.com to learn more about our company. Shop 24/7 for today's top furnishing styles. We'll be back again soon with another episode. But till then, remember, home is what you make it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.